Dsetiny 2 feet just stealth nerfed its best exotic, now penalizes PvP quitters. By Paul Tassi. Yesterday seemed like it was going to bring with it a relatively innocuous Dsetiny 2 hotfix that was going to solve a few problems and not do anything all that major. What it did instead was way beyond that, including nerfing the most powerful exotic in the game and, separately, causing a brand new PvP firestorm. Here's what's going on. Loreley Splendor nerf. They call this the invincible Titan helmet, though now it's not quite as insane. While previously Loreley Splendor would give you X2 restoration if you were critically injured, spawning a sunspot underneath you at the cost of your class ability, that has now been nerfed to X1 restoration, a change that was not in the patch notes. Giving X2 restoration, combined with fragments to extend that as long as possible, made it genuinely hard for Titans to actually die in many PvE situations, and was also a huge headache in PvP with constant health regen on critical injury. Unlike most nerfs for powerful exotics, I am not hearing a whole lot of pushback about this. I think more or less everyone figured that this was a necessary change as Loreley was just in a league all its own in terms of survivability. And guess what? X1 restoration isn't so bad either, and the helmet is still incredibly strong, just not as nuts as before. The main problem is now its description is inaccurate, as it says it boosts sunspot restoration, and it no longer does that. PvP quick play quitting penalty. Now we veer into more controversial territory. Something else not in the patch notes yesterday was the implementation of a penalty where if you leave a quick play match, you will get a warning. Leave too often, a suspension, which has previously only been reserved for actual competitive Crucible modes. While Bungie talked about doing this 2 weeks ago, they said they were going to have more information about it later. That never happened, and yesterday it just suddenly went live, freaking out the whole PvP community. Quitting in quick play has become a big problem in the wake of SBMM's implementation, but I suspect even if Bungie was considering doing this, it may have been an accident that it went live in yesterday's hotfix. They said it would be discussed more in a future TWAB, and it never was. It was not in the patch notes. Unlike the Loreley stealth nerf, no one from Bungie has addressed the penalty as being intentional or an accident since it went live. The screen is literally for the competitive playlist. It's just copy-pasted. At the very least you'd think they'd change the copy. But it is live, and people are getting suspended. This has spawned a sub-debate about whether this action is justified, or whether people shouldn't be leaving quick play matches in the first place because they don't like a map or the first few kills aren't going their way. I don't have the energy to chime in for that debate right now, but my biggest issues was that when quitters were quitting, the game wasn't backfilling, which was the bigger problem. Overall, this seems like perhaps not the best call for Bungie to make right now as the PvP player base has already